to the fact that NRG, they took down Sentinels, arguably one of the best teams in North America, possibly even the world on Icebox. We are yet to see that Icebox map really come into full force, so many question marks going in. But we're started here on Vine. NRG on the defense, Gen G on the attack, and already we know Sean, he's gotten aggressive and he's already gotten the first frag.
Sean's still on the front lines, and he still has a whole lot of players from NRG still trying to flank on him, and indeed it happens. Sam and Shanks both with openings, and Shanks still looking out towards the back line with two actually wanting to approach the back spawn area. EU, what on earth? Let's go beaming through the smoke with a knife, but not gonna get anything out of it. This could be big for Michael, but there is a wall up in hookah. I mean, who would have expected it? NRG, they're already covering their path to really make that rotation as long as possible. And not only that, but they still have one player over towards that A side if another teleport does go on. Shanks is here on the rotation. Same thing with that Sage teammate that put up the wall. Now they just wait out for the approach. Shanks does get one back. Even then, Michael from up top with a couple of right clicks has to go big on two. Gets the headshot, but just doesn't have enough bullets to get another one into Daps. Daps wins it out in the end, and that one was looking a little bit tricky in the end, but NRG had full control in a scrappy round.
Big pickup as well. And to dive deeper into the agent composition that NRG are running, this is one that I feel like they've definitely been experimenting with, right? Infinite, obviously not necessarily an initiator. We typically see him on occasionally, I think in the past, especially during Winter Champs, he was playing the Brimstone. Daps was switching back to the Sentinel of Cypher. But this is an agent composition that they are definitely experimenting with recently, right? It's not there set in stone. And I think it's a big talking point that NRG, they're trying to diversify their agent composition. And this is a really good start. Already Infinite getting lots of information off of the blinding light as Sam looking to contest another great blinding light, allowing him to swing. Down goes Sean, and it's a follow-up. It's GMD. Quick, clean stuff. And already it will be a trade back, but it's a 4v3 in the space already created for EU.
Yeah, no, don't know what the what the move was. Almost literally just stat padding at this point. So, well done. He succeeded. As now EU is here to try to collect up a couple of frags. Michael actually gets one back. But there you go. That's the round back for NRG. The second round conversion can be actually kind of tough for a couple of teams, especially if you had Gen G actually starting to hold W over towards that B site, but NRG had actually called that out a little bit early. So nothing too much, folks. We have Gen G back on the rifles, and it doesn't seem like, from what I've seen them on Bind before, they tend to go for a whole lot of defaults. You see about 4 or 5 of them just on their attacking side alone, but they're starting to more or less start to tighten up towards that B site. Still some split presence though.
Yeah, early bird now as well from Infinite. Doesn't see anything, so to his knowledge, there is nobody out towards long. You said Gen G playing the default GMD. Really gets a double there. Sam exposed by the Cypher tripwire. Goes down to Sean in an instant trade. And with NRG on the bonus, they've decided to get extremely aggressive, right? You see the wall from Daps to prevent anyone flanking them as they push short, but it hasn't worked out the way they were hoping. 3 versus 4, Gen G account for this aggression. And with the kills that they've got, are going to take things super slow now.
Kind of have to at this point, but even then, with NRG already losing out on the first 2 interactions, they were already feeling a little bit aggressive just from the round before. I mean, nothing much to it. I mean, you win that one out, you more or less condition Gen G to just become as safe as possible or potentially go for a couple of desperate routes.
Yeah.
So honestly, not a bad move. It is a little bit of bonus for them too. They're going to be able to buy back into the next round. But still, with 2 over towards that A site, they still have a stellar chance at making this back. The Owl Drone going to get banged out. EU still behind. Oh no, still behind that smoke, waiting up for the approach. Double satchel, and Win is there off the information to get the frag. Daps the only one here on site. Actually goes right into U-Haul. Sean doesn't spot a singular thing with the spike going down. Daps could make some noise. Indeed he does. Going to be able to get one. Now this just restricts things down to a 2-on-3. Little mini flash, but the post plan for Gen G is not too bad.
Big wall up. That'll keep Daps at least out of the mix for now, but he needs the kill. Ooh, onto Kusta, who dances around the box. Trailblazer faking out the info, but Kusta nearly gets taken down. If maybe the Trailblazer actually leapt into him, he actually would have gone down. Now Infinite, I think at this point, is going to look for a couple of exits, but Kusta denies him 1 HP. Jeez, yeah, that Trailblazer definitely would have taken him down. NRG can concede the first round, but again, was just a bonus, so they can buy up here. And Gen G, they don't suffer as many casualties as I think NRG were hoping for. If they could have gotten rid of Kusta, that would have made the round a whole lot more worth it.
Sure could at this point. But like we mentioned, bonus in the last round. And really it's going to come down to how clean Genji can get early control of some of these back choke points, because that's been their goal for a lot of these rounds.
Mhm.
You already see a couple of players. They want to fight everywhere. Players fighting in hookah. Players fighting already a little bit deeper and long. Players fighting in bathroom and in short. I mean, NRG, they're as aggressive as you can get this early on into a round.
Yeah, I mean, Shanks early on went for that ult orb with the support of the Sage Wall from Daps, and that's what he's looking for. Bladestorm now out. This round could be very dangerous. We know what Shanks can do when he's got the Bladestorm in his hand. And now that Genji are playing Quinn on this Sage, you kind of remove that menace. Obviously, Battle Sage still really works. We've seen players like Dicey as well, I feel like, really bring the Sage up back into the meta on Bind. And Quinn, I think he's trying to adapt to that. It might catch NRG off guard, especially with the utility kit that Sage can have. But NRG, a great crossfire between Infinite and Som. These players, at least for Genji, are taking things still extremely slow, trying to feel out the map. Like you said, NRG have been very aggressive early on. And Genji are just hoping to catch somebody off guard, but nothing is being given to them. Full control towards Showers. And right now, the B site, at least in the minds of NRG, this is the only site that makes sense to take. And here they come, Genji. Early on, it's again Sean the double blast back. Som to hold it down. He's got 3. And finally a trade back, but it's a little bit labored.
No, it's laborious, and really it doesn't mean all too much. Kusta still left over towards the mid side. And the paranoia!
Ooh.
Oh my! Oh, that's wonderful. With Hookah being wide open and cleared out, the paranoia just goes hard left. Kusta doesn't expect that at all. So, wow. I mean, great patience from Som. He was actually waiting for the momentum from the satchel to really get as slow as possible for him to really start off that spray. That is a hard risk, though. The wide swings from the other players coming out from long, it's almost expected that they would come out at that point. But with nobody even spotting him in that corner, it would be hard pressed for me to say that anyone else would check that corner. Well done by Som. 3K for him, but now in this round, NRG, they still have to clean things up, because Genji on the SMGs, they can still make some pretty good economic damage.
Yeah, pretty solid result for NRG. I mean, like you said, Genji are looking for economic damage, right? Pull some guns out of the hands of NRG if you're lucky, but EU taking an early fight. I thought for a second he should have had Quinn. I think he let go of his mouse, but a little bit too early. Nice wall up into Showers. NRG, they know that this hit is coming. Now, can Genji get anything? Apparently not, because it's going to be Som hopping around. He actually doesn't discover where Quinn is, and the showstopper goes to waste. This isn't too bad a round so far for Genji. Get another kill, and I'd say this round was 100% worth the investments you've made.
Oh, 1,000%. Still taking on the 2 frags and could potentially get more. Not only that, but of course the kills do help out with the ult orbs and whatnot. Not only that, but they got full control of it early on. So a very successful run for Genji, all things considered. Of course, NRG, they take back the round. But now, folks, yet another big one. The rifles coming out back for both NRG and Genji. And the most important thing now for Genji is, are they going to really focus up their efforts over towards one spot? Because just in the last round, just with the SMGs, they were really able to hold off that aggressive early push from NRG. And not only that, but Genji just looked a little bit more confident. Can they replicate that?
Yeah, I mean, they've got 5 ults here, so there is so much to invest. Again, we've seen what Sean loves to do. Double blast back into his site. Well, now he's got a showstopper to accommodate as well. Early aggression. They're running that bird all the way down, and they are getting so aggressive here, NRG. 3 players towards long. It's a full retake of the A site. All that Dabs has to do right now is hold down U-Haul, one of the most critical positions on this retake, but even then, he realizes the tricky predicament he's in. Tripwire to watch the flank. There's Sean's showstopper. There's a TP into heaven. Now, this is a free kill for Dabs. That's going to come massive into this retake.
Sure is, but even then, Shank still coming in with Michael and multiple people over towards the short area. Win in a beautiful position, but it's super off angle with Kusta actually looking over. Double from Kusta. Now both players from NRG, both isolated, but they have the angles. Kusta was already revealed a little bit early on. EU, good spot. Sean 1v2. This is where he thrives, but he needs to get this one onto Infinite to make it count. But it won't happen. NRG, I mean, it was hard fought. Genji, what a takeover towards that A site in the first place, actually winning out the 1v1 duels, but NRG somehow still coming out alive in the end.
Yeah, insane retake discipline as well. I mean, Daps deciding to instantly concede most of that control position up in heaven so we can get a good overarching view over everything, so we can allow his players from showers, from A short to work their way back into the site. A really well thought out retake for NRG. And this aggression, Gen G, is something that they've got to recognize, that NRG are not going to sit around and let Gen G take map control. They're going to proactively aggress. I mean, you already saw the TP from EU all the way into the spawn. I mean, that's outrageous enough as it is. Gen G, they do still have 3 ults charged up, but they don't really have the guns, I'd say, to suffice around like this.
Oh, absolutely not. But they could still put up at least a little bit of a fight, especially with NRG being a little bit more isolated. But again, Gen G, they've relied on their hard swings in a sense to really get the opening frags. And NRG, they just have really the length. They have the range. Not only that, but info. Shanks looking over towards the long area already knows that there's still one there. And not only that, but look at NRG over towards bathrooms. You talk about info, and this is all that you can get. Nothing over towards short as they shut down the lurker. Som takes down Sean. Still 2 over towards long, and now Shanks, he just wants to pad his stats. Indeed, he gets one back. He dies for his efforts, but Infinite is there to finish things up. 6-1 scoreline. NRG, they've already reached at least a good halfway point for the half, but Gen G, again, they simply haven't impressed me thus far in terms of their hard takes.
Yeah, nothing really has been able to happen, I'd say, for Gen G. I wouldn't say that's because we're not impressed by the hard takes. They just haven't been able to get any hard takes. I mean, NRG have been pressing so many areas of the map where Gen G aren't putting a focus. And I think it's mainly because NRG know that they can take these 1v1 aim duels when you want to push those extremities, when you want to take the early fights and you know you can win them. Gen G, you can't really afford to split players up and run a default. It's super risky because the odds are that NRG, so far in this matchup, are the better aimers, and they will take those 1v1 duels and they will win those 1v1 duels. So Gen G, it's a risk they need to take, but it's one that is a super difficult one to come to.
Oh, certainly so. I mean, I may have been speaking a little bit too extreme in a sense, but actually Gen G, they've had the right ideas in a sense. But yeah, no, NRG, they've just been playing the right counter in a sense here on Bind. Don't really know what it is about it. Gen G still playing a little bit more disciplined, but with how isolated they're playing and NRG really just looking out for those early frags, it really does just come down to the 1v1s at the end of things. Of course, Gen G, they can regroup with like 3 players, 2 players, make their way on site. Then, of course, it's just restricted and then the take just falls apart. But early on, Gen G, most of the rounds that they're losing is just to the entries.
Yeah, NRG again being very good at those early fights. Now, Gen G, they did take attack pause to at least sort out what they want to do. It does look like this time around they are going to try and play those 1v1s, play the game of NRG, but it is always a dangerous game. Early slow warp to prevent anyone to swing on outs. Infinite does invest a blinding light to no avail, no info. And with Gen G finally putting a little bit of utility into these extremities, they can force NRG, at least keep them from getting really that aggressive. But it does look like already a retake towards this B side, with Infinite playing in the back lines of defenders spawn. And without a Sentinel, the retake, I feel like, does get harder for NRG. I mean, in most instances where they do attempt a retake, it's because they have players already on a fast flank. But again, Gen G adapt. They ensure that they have one player watching. That'll be Michael. Owl drone into Hookah to clear it out. They're trying to sell a fake. NRG won't take the bite. Still 4 players here and 3 grouped up for Gen G in the showers. It's a crossfire being held with Shanks and then EU up top right outside. This could be a very nasty surprise for Gen G if they're not prepared.
No, this is just an insane cross, but there you go. They were ready for it. That paranoia barely connects, but even then, Shank and Som holding down the line. Kusta with one back, and still Som in a very tricky position, but has Daps here on the crossfire, ready with him and ready to go. 17 HP, but still a revival up for Win and GMD. He goes to Satchel, and Som able to get himself 2. Easy peasy stuff. Michael now in a 1v2, gonna get hard shocked by Daps and NRG with a 7-1 scoreline. Like you mentioned, Sully, Gen G, they weren't ready for the smoke.
NRG looked amazing. Quick recognition. They knew the hit was coming. Infinite had all the info, or he didn't necessarily have any info, but all in his mind was, let's just play on the retake on this B site. That's all they were going for. In Gen G, they walked right into the jaws of NRG. 4 players stacked, instant solo orb from Daps, and a follow-up with the paint shell grenade from Som, the forced players away. It doesn't get better than that for NRG. Gen G down in the dumps, economically have to go for another half buy, where the only rifle they've got is a Phantom.
It's unfortunate it's the hero rifle, but you know, even then, For what we're seeing from NRG, they're doing actually a really good job at just predicting where Gen G will go. I mean, last round, of course, they had a little bit more hard stuck of an A take, and now this time it's 3 players, and Som this time, he's still fragging out on his own, getting 2 easy ones, and once again, it's going to be NRG holding W over towards B main and trying to get themselves kills. EU takes down Michael. There's one just chilling in teleporter, and oh boy, Wayne literally had 0 chance. Are you kidding me?
2 players appear in front of his screen. No chance you're going to survive. And of course, it has to be Som. Him and Shanks have been incredible in the 9 rounds that we've seen so far. And I mean, NRG, what more can we say? They are just able to take these duels. They are so confident right now. I don't think that's the most dangerous thing about NRG. I've spoke that when NRG are confident, they can beat any team on any day, and we've seen that recently. But when they get maybe a little bit too confident and it turns into cockiness, things do end up getting scary. But right now, in the moment, they are as confident as can be. Som is fragging out. Shanks right behind him to support players all around. I mean, there's nothing you can do in that position as well for Quinn. So unlucky. It's like a magic trick.
Dude, it's not only like a magic trick, but it's like one of those old like James Bond movies, dude. They each had each other 6, dude. They just went through the teleporter back to back. Just like, I got your back, brother. Go. Why'd I call it a James Bond movie? Could have been like an old war movie. Something of the sort. Is what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, we do have the 10th round coming up in NRG. Still trying to hold back over towards the B site. They're actually going for an early hard rotation. Although this is a default from Gen G, they're stacking up, if I'm not mistaken, still 3 players over towards this side, 2 over towards the A side at the moment. It's a little bit weird, but Gen G, they haven't really gone for any contacts. This is just a hard read.
I think the thing is right now is because EU, they've been dominant towards showers, right? Gen G have barely been able to contest, and the mindset right now is NRG is we've dominated showers so much. Why would they try and attempt it again? And they are fighting for control. EU so deep. Daps able to play a nice offlane working, drop slow orbs, try and delay. And there's the frag, the confidence from EU to find Kusta and a triple swing. Oh my God, Huynh never stood a chance in that situation, and Daps controlling this U-haul position as well. There's really nothing you can do right now if you're Gen G. NRG, they've got this one unlocked, and Daps should have this frag as well. Just one player, Michael. Tricky position to be in, and against 4, they're all going to swing him in a second. Daps with the second frag of the round, and NRG 9-1. They are looking so good right now.
I mean, it's every commentator's worst nightmare. It's a little bit too many rounds to not really talk about in terms of NRG. Every round just seems like the exact same thing. NRG, they hold W. Well, they hold their line on the rifle round, sure. Gen G goes over towards the eco. We wait for a couple of contacts, and then eventually, like Shanks or EU, they'll go over towards long. They take the first contact. Infinite gets the trade back. NRG wins another round. It's almost literally been the same formula. And Gen G, they haven't put up a fight just yet, but wow. This could literally be their opening when NRG gets too cocky. Why not? NRG double over towards long and win. He actually gets himself the lineup with none other than a stinger. If it works, it works. NRG, they do have one of the flank though, and EU has full control of the spike from long range where the Phantom can't get anything. So instead now it's a 2-on-4.
I feel like I've just jinxed NRG. Whenever
I mean, I think we both did.
Yeah, whenever we commentate them, I always say that line where their confidence turns into cockiness, and then they end up doing stuff like that. Hopefully that trend doesn't continue. Again, they are up 9-1, so they can afford, you know, around here or there. It definitely isn't going to hurt the scoreline too much, but NRG, that was a little bit ballsy. I like how EU at least was on a very fast lane, keeping up with the trend of NRG being super aggressive, and Gen G, they deal with it. Win good for the 2K off of the stinger. That was the biggest engagement that NRG ended up losing. And now it's kind of a gamble. They can maybe get a revive at the EU. I think maybe that's the plan right now, right? Daps can make that long rotation, bring EU back into the fight. If they want to bring Som or Shanks back in to get Shanks' Blade Storm to allow a better entry, who knows? But this is a decent winnable situation for NRG, but it's all about this revive. There's a trip, and Gen G, they will be prepared for the flank to come in no matter what.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, again, they're not at least ready to go yet. They're still setting up, and that's how they set up. They get the revival, and Daps nails down GMD with a wide swing. Happy birthday, GMD. It's a rude awakening, to say the least. Kusta now over towards Hookah. Could get a wide swing from EU, and indeed he does, and he's able to get the kill back. But it's really going to come down to one, as both Daps and his teammate both get frags. But even then, Sean, he only has a stinger, and he's putting in the work. Infinite, he tried his best, but now 85 HP left on Sean. The satchel better go up. And not only that, but the spike has been gone down for a while. Daps has to run away. And just like that, Gen G, they went around by Sean just holding down the line.
It's again so scary for Gen G, though. Huge congrats that they pick up a round where they hardly had any guns to work with. Huge frags from Quinn and a great hold down from Sean. We praise him to be the best in this tournament so far statistically, but it hasn't been like that in this game. NRG have shut him down left and right, and I think that could be the round to get him going finally. He picks up 2 frags there to double him to 4-11, but he still needs a bigger performance. Last round of this half, and Gen G, they need this third round. Minimize the damage, but already NRG looking to get aggressive early on. Shanks on the op. What can he get from this one?
Oh boy, of course he's gonna get something. Out from around the corner, takes down Sean. Still win, actually. Has the revival back, and he picks back up Sean. So the Sage v Sage, both getting resurrections 2 rounds in a row. A couple of cabbages, a couple of seekers over towards mid. Gonna be able to get a little bit of information off of that flank, but even then, Gen G, they're still staying on fairly confident on where they are. Of course, no man disadvantage just yet, but with Kusta being really on the lookout over towards this A site, just trying to get as much info as possible. And not only that, but 4 players over towards this site, Gen G's got to be feeling good over towards the B site. But that's if Kusta can really make some work happen. Oh boy, he's got to go for the peak now. EU has escaped. Same thing with Shanks. This might get dicey.
I think they just hopped over the trip as well. If not, EU is going to make the TP, but Infinite, all of this information. And Shanks, he's able to catch one off guard. Perfect, but again, you mentioned Kusta and that late lurk. A nice tag onto the backside of GMD, but it's not going to net them a kill just yet. They will take control of U-Haul, and it was Kusta. This position, you foreshadowed it, and well, it's come to fruition. Michael, ready for the flank. Ooh. Are they prepared? They're about to walk into each other. EU with his back turn. This is an easy kill, but they will be aware of the flank now. 4 versus 4 and a showstopper that Som ends up shutting down. 10 seconds left in the spike. It's barely made its way to the site, and Shanks has just won them the round. 4 kills on the Bladestorm, and NRG have double digits.
We only get a glimpse of it, but you can already feel the glory. Beautiful from Shanks. Just toes the line between himself and Kusta, makes his way towards the back line of Long, where again, Gen G has no info, and instead, NRG, they play the patient game, they play the long game, and it works out because of a man named Shanks. Both him and Som, the dynamic fragging duo, man, I mean, they've gone huge. It's a 10-2 scoreline going into the second half. And again, although he flicked away, you could tell that Som had to pull an insane flick to actually get that kill. And not only that, but Shanks with a cleanup.
Yeah, insane stuff from NRG in the first half. Now, Gen G, this is their better side statistically in recent times, right? 60% win rate. But then on the attack, they had a 58% win rate. So the difference doesn't vary by much. NRG, they've been looking really good. Or apologies, those were the stats for NRG. So on the attack, they are just as good. Gen G, they will take this moment. I think it could be attack pause, I'd imagine, right? You need kind of that mental reset. You've got Blank behind you as the coach, kind of sorting things out mentally. You really need to reset here. And it is going to be a difficult ride. You're on the defensive side. It's going to be a lot easier. But due to the style of NRG, you know how aggressive they can get. You know this is not going to be an easy fight.
Certainly not. They're just biding their time. Round's about to start, and Gen G, a 4-man B stack. This could be absolutely nuts, but again, NRG has most of their bodies over towards the A site, and so much noise is being made over towards B. It's literally just Som. Som taking away all of this attention, all of this pressure, all of the players from NRG just staying away from that teleporter area, staying away from bathroom, just so they could get the first contact on A. Som is not only going to get a first contact and a first pick, but also going to bait out a whole lot of util that is so successful for Som. And not only that, but Gen G, down a man, have to make this full retake.
Big play from Sam, and the fact that he gets out of there alive is outrageous. Like you said, a whole lot of utility, and I'd say two of the biggest parts of this retake. Slow war baited, wall baited, paranoia baited. How do they even go about this? There are no flashes left here for Gen G, and a whole lot of players grouped up in U-Haul. Sam with this lurk, Sam with this late rotation, and the wall is up. Everyone's got their backs turned to him, and Sam had a firing range. He fires downrange and is only able to get one, but there's not much you can do here if you're Gen G. They are bringing it back. 2 versus 2, a wide swing from one, and it is going to be Quinn to take the round, but is there time? It's going to be so close, and there isn't. 2 seconds, and the wall is what saves them. Huge engagements, and everybody goes down, but NRG pick up the round.
Kusta thought he was safe too. He tried to escape through the teleporter, but putting that into the larger angle, what a performance from win. Again, Gen G absolutely needed that pistol round. They still have a little bit of economy from that round to really have a leverage on top of NRG, purely because of the fact that really both of these teams are going to be at around the same angle or at about the same level.
Yeah.
So if anything, this should be the round to look out for. Gen G, if they lose this, it is almost literally wraps. NRG still with a little bit more even of an approach, but Gen G, they're going all in over towards the long area. Double up, but double satchel on sight, and Win is there to help out. Beautifully done by Gen G early on, as now NRG need to make their own way back.
Full buys worked out really well for them so far. Lots of info. Shanks recognizes the threat to the right, but GMD, perfect swing. And he gets the frag on back. 2v3 now. It is Daps. It is Infinite. Bigger brains of this NRG side have got to pull off a massive clutch, and those paint shell grenades have done a whole lot of damage. Now Daps up close, gunned down by the Stinger because of the faster fire rate. Now Infinite with 49 HP. A shame you can't heal yourself, but this round goes the way of Gen G. The force buy ends up working, unless Infinite again can pull off an insane 1v3, but the probability is probably super low. You know, I'm no mathematician, but it doesn't seem like the odds are in his favor.
Doesn't look like it.
30 seconds left.
I did the math
I
too.
kind of
I did
failed
the math as well.
Yeah, no, I kind of failed calculus in high school, so I can't really refute that or approve of that, but it is what it is. I don't know, big number, little number. It does seem like NRG doesn't have that great of a chance, and actually Infinite, he would be better off actually saving up this round or potentially trying to get that last second plant for a little bit more cash in the bank. 5 seconds left, 4 seconds left, barely going to be able to get it. And actually with an angle in, can't get it. Barely on, but there you go. Gen G, they have themselves a 3rd round, and like I mentioned before, with both teams really being able to force up at that last round, it was anyone's game. It just had to come down to Gen G really trying to tighten things up and actually trying to play at NRG's own game. They were the ones that forced out the back choke points. They were the ones that forced out the interaction within the first 10 seconds of the round. You saw that a whole lot for NRG in the first half, and Gen G just pulled one out of NRG's strap book.
No force up here for NRG. They're going to try and stay as economically stable as possible. When you've got a lead this big, you can afford to lose some rounds. You don't really need to give them the economic ball. Don't let them get it rolling. But it's still the same NRG. Fast and aggressive. Straight on in. Some with a double shorty and a blast pack to entry. Kusta now has to pivot around the Cypher cages, and he alone has stopped NRG in their tracks. Those Cypher cages go up. And NRG's speed goes down. Great bird going out, but Sean with a big paint shell grenade is going to clean up 2 frags. EU now in a 1v3. Again, economic damage is the name of the game. How many exits can he get from this one? Okay, might get something, but double swing goes in. Gen G fine round number 4. And NRG, they did what they could.
Yeah, some of these rounds are getting super awkward.
Yeah.
It's going to be interactions like that where we just have to be like, huh. Right, moving on. With Gen G now, still holding on to a buy. You mentioned that it was realistically one player holding on the back line for the NRG side. I guess so, right? Gen G, they still had a little bit more control. It was Kusta, actually, never mind,
Yeah.
But at least now going forward, NRG, they're still going to be maintaining still that scattered early start. But never mind. They have that scattered early start purely for the sound, purely for the utility. You have a Raze throwing out a nade over towards mid. Now they attract the 3 people over towards B. They maintain them there. One way over towards short too. And not only that, but they want to maintain it. They're going to keep it going. But a dash in, Shanks still in the front lines trying to find out Kusta. Beautiful nade from Psalm too, taking down his opponent on top of U-Haul. Still, Kusto around the corner with the SMG. Can't get anything. NRG now in a man advantage. But Sean, man, who's been hard fragging as far, still with a massive opportunity to bring his team back into 3-on-3.
It is so difficult, Gen G. They couldn't lock down U-Haul. And NRG are investing everything into this control. Slow warp down, Paranoia ready to force them away even further. But the wall goes up, and so does the revive. NRG, they've got their backs against the wall. Gen G are putting on pressure, and they need to retake these positions. Sean with a big frag. You mentioned his name. Well, there he is. But here comes the showstopper. Nothing connects. And Sean with 4. Gen G survive for another round and keep NRG off of 12.
It's literally just Sean 4K off the retake. I mean, come on, right? It's gotta be yet another one of those MVP making performances. There's a reason why he has one of the best stat lines in the entire tournament. And Sean, I mean, really his entire team hasn't been able to win out any of these rounds solo. But now he's been hard impact fragging. Not in terms statistically though. Really, throughout this entire game, it's just been the NRG show. Of course, Sam and Shanks, both at 20+, and it's all been too easy for him. High ADR too. But now going forward, Gen G, they're picking up momentum. They're picking up steam. I don't know if we've seen this steep of a comeback in Tier 1 play, but yeah, I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Well, you know, every comeback story starts with some insane play to get them back into the game, right? This is exactly what Gen G needed. A 4K off of Sean. A weird execution because it kind of leaves Daps alone because he's kind of just chilling behind the wall like, what do? I have to break this now. Gen G, the op from Quinn to lock it down. The Sage operator still tried and true from the beta days. Shanks looking for early control, the Trailblazer to lead him on in. It's like following your spirit animal, but Shanks might be led to his death. 4 players here. And a 5v4 retake.
Oh, this is actually a massive chance for NRG. Double elbow, and Sean, he's not going to be able to get anything off of it, but instead the Vandal's out. Evade Shanks, and the Knives going to be able to get a second still 2 over towards elbow. Massive swing from Sean, and this is yet another one for him to pad his stats. Still another one for him, and he gets the 4th. Why not Sean? I was saying earlier, this guy doesn't exactly have the stats to back up what has been a crazy half for him, but he gets 4 more. He's stat padding, and Sean is going nuts.
Dude, this is what you need. Sean finally coming alive. We hyped him up. The best in this event so far, statistically #1. And boy, he is proving it here. When his team needs him most, he comes up huge. 8 kills between 2 rounds. The dude is having a game and a half right now, at least in this second half. Quinn, great shot, great delay as well. I mean, it's a team effort for Gen G on the retake, and Sean is just there to pick up the kills. 51 HP to find the final 2. Gen G, you said we haven't seen too many comebacks in this level of play. Well, I think this is one in the making right now.
There. Revealing area.
Again, an absolute banger thus far from Gen G, but there's still so much work to pull off. I can't exactly call it possible just yet. Still 5 rounds separating these 2 teams, but I mean, as I say that, Gen G, they've already pulled off that equivalent, and not only that, but this half has been relatively easy for them. NRG, they're finding themselves in almost a pit in a sense, almost the same that Gen G were going into as actually they try to switch up their approach almost every round, and it just doesn't work out in their favor. And this time, NRG actually, they have this site for free. Kusta, Michael, both getting frags. Still some up front with a trade back. GMD just hiding in cubby, no check at all. And just like that, GMD on his lonesome. 7-11. Again, off that take, Gen G, not exactly scattered, but they were all just very desperate for those entry frags. Gen G, they didn't give those at all. They were just waiting up in the back lines, waiting for NRG to approach, almost going in more of a retake scenario, but still having decent control sight.
It's been a rough one for NRG. At one point, this game looked done and dusted. But the second round conversion for Gen G, and it's been 4 in a row after, 5 in total in this second half. And they've brought it all the way back. Still a lot more work to do, but it is a really good start. EU with an early smoke. I didn't deny info on the A site, but Gen G, they've invested 3 players over towards this B side. A revive available for NRG, but pressure out towards long. Sean is here, and you know this is going to be a dangerous fight. Smoke in their face, preventing them from seeing their opponents through it. In NRG, this is unorthodox, I would say, at least from our perspective. We know them to be so fast. They are slowed down, they are tempered, and they are creeping on through. Slow warp, and they've trapped Michael, but can they get anything? No! They struggle to find it. Shanks goes down, and Sean is here to save the day. He's pulled out the showstopper and is looking for more. He's got the frag right after himself. He goes down, and it's up to Infinite to win a 1v2 clutch.
Still 61 HP. The man can pull it off, I would like to think, but ooh, the tightest of angles with a Vandal of all things.
So
Still
tricky.
very confident with it. That's that intuition of Infinite. Only just a confidence, really.
Yeah.
You can even nail a headshot in that tight of an angle, but in we go. Ooh. Players are starting to swing more and more out of B main, and Infinite actually backs out to be long. Yeah, no, there you go. There's not only going to be a wall, slow orb, most likely a cage too. Infinite just has no chance of making his way through. But the defuse still hasn't gone down yet. They're still taking it and just really trying to bait out Infinite. Infinite was literally stuck between a rock and a hard place, stuck between the rock and the wall. And not only that, but Gen G, they find themselves more or less an easy one at the end of things. But a good early performance, again, as NRG, they just can't get anything going for themselves.
Yeah, this has been a really rough half, and Gen G, it feels like these two teams have been very momentum-based, and, well, it seems that Gen G, they've got all the momentum on their side. NRG, not much you can really say about them. It feels like they've been struggling to find their feet, and on the attacking side, we've seen the statistics, 58% win rate and 60 on the defense. Not too much of a huge gap, 2% difference. But Gen G right now are proving they are the better team on the defense. They've got, again, that mental strife. That single break right at the end of the half really, I feel like, got them back into it. And that second round force buy is the reason why we're still even talking about this game right now.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I should be really trying to get more coffee at this point, but yeah, it is what it is, though, ladies and gentlemen. You do have a deep teleport coming in, but GMD still in the back line over towards Cubby, gonna be able to get one. Now it's down to a 3-on-3 as Kusta's actually opening this one up. Still one over towards the back line. Good reaction. And Gen G now still has more control, still has the man advantage, but Kusta's ready. NRG, they still have Som ready and raring to go. Infinite getting revived. This turn from a man disadvantage to a man advantage from NRG in an instant. But win with the operator, anything is possible. Gaps are up, waiting for players to rotate on out. Not only that, but a slow orb to cut off the rotation back. So now both of these players just stuck on the front lines, and Michael finds a gap in the wall, finds a headshot, but Som, what on earth? What can he even pull off with this showstopper? It's just mal-timed. He can't get anything from it. He has to depend on the Phantom, depending on the players going in, and the wall going in. Very impromptu from Win, but Som takes him down. Now looking for a fourth to shut this all down. Spike is right in front of him. Som is the one with all the control in the world. Angles the wide swing, and Som shuts it down. Michael, he tried to pull the underhanded tactic, but couldn't get anything of the sort. Instead now, NRG, they find themselves a 12th from the clutch of Som.
Masterfully done from Som, the showstopper to force players away to try and bring out those 1v1s. And I mean, Quinn gifted him a 1v1. Som, great awareness to re-swing back into the APC, and this was the kill that decided the round. They should have gone for a double peek, I feel like. If Michael was on that wall, Som would have had much more of a difficult time, but you give him the 1v1s, and Som, the clutch king in this game, pulls off another. And NRG, they have finally found their way to 12, but now they need just a little more over to get to the finish line.
Sully, imagine the swing. Michael goes lower, and then you just have two completely different angles for the peak. I mean, that could have been so much more different for Gen G. But instead for this one, I don't think their momentum is really halted by any means, but this one's going to be tough. NRG, they have all the bodies in the front of sight. Shanks has been so successful in these sorts of situations, but he's not going to be able to find anything. Instead now, Kusta with the ulti, gonna be able to find all that information, but still NRG with full control of this site. Except for U-Haul, however, there's one player really just ready and raring to go, and it's none other than Sean, but Sam comes back with nobody watching the back line. 3v3 now, as NRG looks to close things out with a spike going down.
Revive available though here, at least for Quinn. Who can he bring in? There are no bodies near him. They need to get U-Haul control. I think that's the only place they can get a possible revive, but Infinite investing a Trailblazer, Som, a blast back to keep them away. Everything on the line here in map number 1 is Gen G. They are trying to retake U-Haul, but they're getting nothing. They're shut down by Som and Infinite. 2 frags between the both of them. And GMD, it's his birthday and he needs a present. He needs a clutch and he's got one, but the second avails him. EU closes things out and NRG take the first map 13-8.
For us today. But even then, folks, we are seeing most of Gen G this early on, mostly stacked around the C site with 3 players, actually 4 players, for NRG ready to go on a fast rotate.
Yeah, they do have a retake cam set up in Gen G, fast pace. That's the tempo you want. Let Sean do his thing. Let him find kills and let Saul maybe explode in as well. Frenzy to their faces. It's the dynamic duo, the deadly duo of Shanks and Som. Silence in the works, and they take the kills for themselves. Nothing that you can do if you're Gen G right now. 4 versus 1, and it is a sweep from NRG on the retake. That is fast, and that is deadly.
Well, there you go. Like you mentioned, the retake cam, it was spotted out a little bit early, but this is something you just don't expect at all. Seriously, that B and C site, those were about to be retaken so easily by NRG, no matter what Gen G did. They were hard relying, yes, on a singular player over towards the A side, so if anything, Gen G, it was a little bit of a coin flip. It was a 3-sided coin flip. I don't know how that would work, but even then, NRG, they had all of their options covered, and because of how aggressive their players can be, especially Infinite, who we saw a little bit over towards that first map, but couldn't exactly explode purely because Shanks and Som took their shirts off. It is what it is. Now NRG in this second round, they have their SMGs, and they're facing up against the pistols of Gen G. Gen G, they want to maintain their economy relatively even, just so they can get a whole lot of util, the firepower back in the third round.
Right, it's not as desperate of a situation as maybe that first map, second half position where you're down 11-2, so you don't need a full buy here. They're going to try and keep themselves, like you said, economically stable. Same thing for NRG. Shanks popping off, doing what he does best, running and gunning with the Spectre. 3 kills, NRG amass. Well, there's not much you can do here if you are Gen G. Shanks continuing this aggression. He wants the Blade Storm early, but he wants this third frag more importantly. And well, he'll be gifted that. 2 now off of the ulti. And NRG, they find a second round. All 5 players alive. No damage dealt. And it's a full bonus going to the next. But Gen G themselves will have the guns to play with. And this is where things can get deadly. Is the pace going to hold up? Or NRG going to be able to deal with it?
If NRG deals with it, then I think we're going to see yet another map 1 type situation where, again, Gen G, they can't get anything going early on in the game. NRG wins the bonus. I mean, that's everything for them, especially with how momentum-based the team is. I mean, from the outside looking in, if you're from Europe, if you're from Asia, you look to North America as this momentum-based region with all of these players being such characters in a sense. But NRG literally embodies that. They get a sense of confidence. They get a sense of momentum, and they absolutely explode. And just like this is how they can build it up. Double long at this point, but Kusta is the one beaming through the smoke. Actually, going for the first frag and then transferring the spray onto Som. That's a massive start from Kusta, but still, Shank's still alive, still control of long. But Gen G, they've already readjusted with GMD on the lurk over towards C.
There's that camera again, though. I think at least in this position, Infinite's going to pop those cages. He's going to try and at least fake presence in the back of sight. That should be the biggest goal. A very well-timed smoke, though, here from Daps. That'll cause a whole lot of delay. Infinite, the cam is up. They know this hit is coming, but it's all about timing. Can he get the cages up at the right moment? Yes, he can. Perfect. And a big, big paranoia. And guess who's here on the site? Mr. Fourth Quarter's arrived, and he is ready to go. Flashes go in, but he's not ready at all. Never mind. Daps now in the clutch, and Gen G, well adjusted. And Daps, 1v4, is looking for some exits. Anything he can get from this would be beneficial, but nothing much. Gen G, what a great round from them.
Gotta go back on your words, Sully. Shanks was a little bit ready for that. Looked away for the flash, but even then, for the rest of that take, Gen G, well-timed, and really just opened up by Kusta more than anything. NRG, they had 3 over towards A and still 1 on a fast rotation over towards B. So if anything, they had all their options covered on that A site if Gen G really did want to commit to that. But just well done by Gen G. Didn't lose out on too many of their players realistically. Only 2 casualties. So now going forward, their economy does start to build, but this is still very much a tense situation for really both of these teams. And Gen G is still very much showing it in early default, as they're actually really just waiting out for NRG to start walking into those enemy lines as they've usually been doing.
Yeah, they're getting ready prepared for aggression, right? You know, again, like you said, waiting for them to walk into it. You know Shanks likes to get aggressive. He's got a Blade Storm right now, so even more reason. Spotted out and a kill for Shanks. Nicely done from him to find the opening. And in a round like this where you invest that Blade Storm and the rest have got rifles, Gen G need to be very cautious. Keep in mind, they walked away with all 5 players alive in the second round to make the third a bonus. So this is, again, a full, strong buy for NRG, except for Shanks, who's looking for the op in the next. But here come the curveballs. Infinite able to catch Sean through the Cypher cage, thanks to the trip, and everything falls into place. NRG in a 5v1. And Gen G, that momentum from the last round hasn't stacked up into this one. This is going to be a third here, NRG.
Gone.
30 seconds left. This is literally all that Michael can do.
Yeah, just exits.
Just exits. Just waiting out what would be the safest positions possible.
Yeah.
Like right now, Michael is just looking over towards one angle. He can only get exposed from one angle. Could get flanked, but the chances of that are slim. But really, NRG with the early pressure once again. Gen G, they try to make their solo take, or I'm sorry, not their solo take, but the full take over towards C. But I think more importantly, you have the players from Gen G almost not enough pressure over towards that C site early on. And that's really attributed by how volatile the reactions from NRG has been in terms of the rotations. They put themselves in the right spots, correct, but they always have some sort of the right read in a sense.
Yeah, they always show really good presence everywhere on the map to kind of force Gen G the way they want to go. And their retakes, NRG on the C site, when they've got the manpower and they've got the firepower, have been nothing more than, or nothing less than flawless. Again, all 5 players alive, even denying the spike at that point. So Gen G, rough spot to be in, but they manage their economy well enough. Quinn will be the only one with lacking a gun. He picks up a frenzy in favor of the Blade Storm. We do have a slight pause, a very early one. Gen G, one of the few teams that, at least in my mind, really fully utilizes tac pauses, right? In that first map in the second half, as soon as that half started, it took just a moment to breathe, a mental reset to get back into it. And I think this pause is to really talk things through, ensure that there can be no momentum built up for NRG, and it won't be at least a stampede like we saw in the first map where NRG gets 6-7 rounds in a row and it just gets uncontrollable.
And that's really the disaster scenario in a sense. Sean, he's been a whole lot more volatile in the early rounds.
Get out of my way.
Again, like we mentioned in the pregame, Sean statistically the best player in this tournament thus far with a 1.84 rating. And he hasn't really been able to maintain that, really that momentum or that streak in this game thus far. Of course, the second half in the first map, I mean, that was stellar, but that was when everyone was really at a high caliber level for Gen G. But nobody can really get an opening for this squad. Win, however, low economy. So he decides to go full armor, full util, and he pulls out the knives. And he's actually the solo player over towards mid. He's the lurker in this round with the knives. NRG just in the round before, they had a whole lot of pressure over towards the A main area, A site area, but this time it more looks like they're going for a little bit of a retake scenario if Gen G really commits to this.
I mean, Som has a run it back, right? You obviously have EU with his insane hunters here. We kind of hyped him up to be the holder of A and how good he is with his utility and how good he is in these clutches. Now Quinn is looking for these rotations. He's trying to cause a ruckus, but no one on NRG is biting. They've got a trip as well to cover their flank, so they don't need to worry about that. But this retake, there's the run it back, and Som gets aggressive. He's been full blinded, but so is everyone else. Infinite with one. There were the trades back, and exactly what they needed as Michael holds it down. 15 seconds left though, and EU caught off guard, but it's Som. The run it back is what he needed, and he's been sent back into the site as Quinn goes for a hero play, but NRG hold it down and the ults come to fruition. A fourth on the board, and Gen G, the time off, did nothing to help them in that one.
I mean, the ults go big. EU with a lot of early pressure with that Hunter's Fury. And, I mean, he still ends up getting a frag for his troubles. And not only that, but Gen G, they had full control of sight. Som, he had made his way on a little bit earlier without really any noise. So Gen G, right when they started to get a little bit comfortable off the main advantage, Som is the one that pulls out the double kill. It's the bang bang combo that, again, Gen G, they've been dreading about this NRG squad. It's that constant pressure that they keep showing up in these rounds. And just like that, Gen G, they're stuck back down to an eco round.
Early info for EU out towards A. There's no longer a retake setup. They just have the trips in case he needed to fall back, but now I guess it's a retake setup. However, C site heavily contested. Shanks in the back. He has 3 smokes to play with and a whole lot of frag potential. Sees the arm sticking out, and that's all he needs for 2, and that's all he needs for 3. Shanks has lit up the server, lit up the kill feed with blue, and NRG have taken a 5th.
Well, there you go, Shanks. A little bit of stat padding too, but it makes it look flashy. 9 kills for him thus far in this game. Now Gen G, I mean, they just have to brush it off. I mean, in their angle, in a sense, imagine them from their viewpoint. It was just literally Shanks with a couple of lineups and some easy frags. That's easy to pass by mentally, in a sense. But again, if Gen G, they start to go back in the rounds, they start going back in the timeline. It's almost deja vu. They're like, man, is it really happening again? Is NRG really exposing us this early in the game? It simply can't happen, folks. Gen G wants to stop it, and this is their big opportunity, but that is a good, well-instilled smoke down over towards the mid area by NRG, still to get a little bit of early pressure on, but the run it back is online, and Sean is looking for some space, but EU is there to shut it down already. But with that space being made, Gen G, they have control of sight. Still a whole lot of util being used. Good trade back by Kusta, as it just so happens to be that he's in the right position. Now GMD with 1. Som with a wide swing gets another. How is Som even in that position? There goes the ulti back for the Cypher. So much information being made as the network is online. Now NRG with control of sight. Win looking out for a couple of players to swing their way through, but he's fully flashed. Som with the space, EU with another one, and now it's just gonna have to be EU. One more kill for at least to take this one out, and Sean has the angle. There you go. Sean was the instigator at the beginning of the round, and Sean, he closes the book on the round as Gen G, they're the ones with the constant pressure this time, fighting all the 1v1s. And NRG, they get choked out on the B site, but it was anyone's game at the end of things.
Yeah, it felt like it. Gen G, Shanks in particular, finding a kill onto Michael, who had the Hunter's Fury. You saw him trying to play around it, sitting in the back of window, and it changes the game plan on that retake for Gen G. They were going to pivot around the Hunter's Fury, but with Shanks getting that frag, it really did become anyone's game. Now, NRG in this one, no up for Shanks. He sits on the back plat of C. And Gen G, again, constant pressure. You mentioned they were the ones taking the duels. They will be stopped here for now to allow at least Som to get the ulti online. They'll run it back available for an A-site retake. And they have a cam prepared as well by Infinite. 2 trips up. Cage is ready to keep them from pressing into the back. Gen G, are they aware of this? NRG have planned accordingly. And again, that run it back, you saw how crucial it was in the round that NRG did retake the A site flawlessly. Well, they're going to need it here again, as Gen G have now reached the site. They've reached the climax. Cage is not up. They'll be using that for the retake as well. And with the spike going down, there's that run it back, and here they go.
Som just tries to make his way on through, but that's good for some space. Still not a whole lot of damage. And Gen G, this is really their biggest challenge thus far in terms of a hard retake from NRG. It's a 5-on-5, and then they go. It's Som with the first 2 frags. Shanks is here to help out. So Michael on the back lines over towards Shorts. Still has one back. Infinite essentially beaming through the smoke. He gets the kill back. Now 2v2. GMD with a good one. Michael with a flick, and now Michael is the one dictating the pressure. But now Daps,
he's sticking.
He's still going. He's sticking. No, Michael, you gotta be kidding me. It's the most anticlimactic finish that you can get. Michael is still very much sharp on the aim, but he gives up on the battle at the end of things, anticipating that the stick wouldn't come in. But Sully, you already know what the saying is. Pros don't fake, and Daps is as professional as you can get.
In the world he's from, it's 100% true. Oh my gosh, Michael. So unlucky, and you see the economic implications it has for this round. Little to no credits to buy up in a full force. They've got to go on an eco here. Pistols and a single phantom for Michael. He's the one that saved it from the last, and he's going to do anything he can, but an early Hunter's Fury. This could be a lot of damage, and it tags onto one. Info for them, but Shanks does arrive. He's got one trade back in Quinn on 30 HP. Such a difficult position to pivot around, but he's done enough to get 2. And Quinn with a flank, but EU was right on him. 2v1. The birthday boy needs another gift, and this one is not going to come to him on time. 7-2, NRG. They do lose quite a few players, and Gen G, that pace definitely caught NRG a little off guard.
No, absolutely. Gen G actually had a stellar opportunity with most of their players really going towards those back lines and just fighting those rotations from NRG head on. That's really what Gen G was missing from these C takes, is having pressure in the back lines. But even then, NRG still win it out.
Yep.
But that's good for the mentality of Gen G. Like you mentioned before, Gen G still getting at least a little bit back onto NRG, and still with a couple of rounds left in the half, could get some economic damage going to maybe lead this into an eco in a couple of rounds. Gen G needs to win some rounds though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, last 2 of the half, try and get it, or last 3, try and get it to 5 here if possible. The cage nullified because Som has decided, I'm going to get really aggressive. Now, he should be anticipating an Owl Drone. I think that's why Shanks has changed his position up to take out the Owl Drone without exposing Som. The Owl Drone goes out mid, so this is a free position for Som. The only thing that could clear him out is a camera now. And even then, that's not going to give them a lot of info. Daps with the TP. Looking for something, only finds a couple of bullets, but that's just enough. Gen G slowed down with 50 seconds left to regroup back to this site. And Shanks, all he needed was a right click to take down Kusta. And while they were thinking of A, they were probably double guessing themselves, but this TP is going to draw everything away here for NRG. And GMD, goodness me, what a dink onto him.
Yeah, no, there you go. But Shanks was already in the back lines of A. So GMD just gets exposed. Now Daps, the leader, he gets one back with a slick kill, but Sean makes one even better. I think we've seen 3 hard taps already in the round, and there you go, Michael. You're definitely not expecting anyone in garage. So just like that, it's gonna come down to none other than Shanks now in the 1v2. 2 more players remaining out from around the corner. And Shanks, the power of the right clicks. It's Mr. Fourth Quarter himself. He's still clutch. And from downtown, he nails down Gen G in what was their biggest opportunity to get some momentum back in this game, to get some life. And Shanks, what a play.
The slightest mismovement of his cursor and none of those right clicks connect. How does he do it? He tweeted shirts are awful, and sure as hell they are right now. Shanks, insane, the right click. Oh my god, nothing you can do if you are Sean. There's no words to describe this man. Built different, cut from a different cloth, and NRG are up now to 8. 6 rounds separate them, and Gen G, that should have been theirs by all means.
No, it should have. Absolutely, it should have. But again, it's just Shanks doing his thing. Well, here we go again, folks. I don't know how many times I need to say this, but Gen G, somehow they still have a chance. I don't know what the mental barrier could possibly be for this team, but it almost seems like at least one player from NRG always has something something in their backpack, something under their belt to win out some of these rounds. And, well, for now, Gen G, they're a little bit more scattered, and they actually want to take early garage control for really one of the first times that NRG is actually contesting it. It actually works. Sean gets the first frag back, but EU back in the sniper's area of garage. Snags back the frag, but Infinite. He needs that cage up, and that's beautiful. He's not going to get spotted. He's still around the left corner. GMD is still here, and Gen G, they're still not going to really expend too much of that utility and trying to hold out. But again, that's such a decent spot in a sense, but it's a one and done, Sully.
Yeah. Very tricky to play around.
30 seconds.
If there's anyone that's going to turn into more than just one, there's that Hunter's Fury. I was going to mention, I thought they were going to save it for the retake. Infinite trigger discipline. But unfortunately, GMD checks his corners. 4 versus 2 now. NRG, a difficult retake. There's a cam early in spawn that'll give them all the information in the world. He hasn't been spotted just yet. Yeah, this is a really weird angle for at least that camera. Will finally be spotted. Quinn in the back, getting spammed down by Shanks. But time is ticking, and this is near impossible for the boys of NRG. Shanks, big paranoia though, coming out from Daps to try and open it up. And there's the swing, there's the kill. Shanks finding the first, but time is ticking now, Gus.
Time's against NRG, but that hasn't stopped them yet. But what does stop them is Win. He's been so pivotal in the back lines for some of these rounds for Gen G. He's really been the one really giving a lot of opportunities for this team and some of the takes, but this time he really makes it count with a double at the end of things. And now NRG looking into this last round, just looking to close things out with a 9th, or Gen G could potentially just snag up what is a little bit better of a scoreline than what was the first map of Bind. And the buy is actually not too great for NRG either. Still a bulldog, and they're actually contemplating, you know, util and armor and the compensation of firepower.
Oh, big pressure again. Saw him with a run it back. He's gonna take him into spawn. Oh, that's huge. I think down. Tripwire revealed. Spam through the smoke. Nothing you can really do about that one. He does at least get control. Smoke dropped as well in the back. If Sam wanted to swing, he could. And yeah, already Kusta backing away. Doesn't want any of that business. GMD tucked in the cubby, but how do Gen G go about this one? Sam with all of this info, all of this control. They know this is going to be a B or a C hit, and you have EU, or apologies, Daps, not too far, and I guess as well EU not too far from the B site. They will retake at least the garden area. Get some information from it, but it's not enough. Gen G have to commit to C, and again, it's Infinite in the back. Shanks and EU here as well. It's going to be an ironclad hold as Gen G start to ramp up the tempo, but here comes the recon bolt, and now comes the hit.
Ooh, weighing on the front lines, and Michael with a 1-2 punch. There you go. Gen G with their slickest C take yet, and Kusta just beaming on through. Gets a massive frag, but Sean! That is just a rare miss. But ultimately, not too effective in the rest of the round, or not too consequential. Instead, now it is Daps in the 1v4, now a 1v3. Only 11 HP. This one's practically done for, but yeah, no, just well done by Gen G off the take.
8-4, they end it. Not the best they could have gone. They were hoping for 7-5, but I think this one, with only one round between 5 and 4, not going to hurt them too much. Now, Gen G, the second half on the defensive side should hopefully be a lot easier. Now, in the past, I think Haven has definitely become a lot more split between the sides, more 50-50. NRG, again, very good on the defense and on the attack, edging with a 59% win rate on the attacking side and 58% on the defense. It's only a 1% difference, but that could change the game. Here are some of the great clips we had. I mean, huge plays. I mean, this clutch from Shanks specifically, I feel like encapsulates this entire game. He's having one heck of a series so far, topping the server at the moment. But can he keep it up? This second half, we saw that Gen G were able to build themselves up their own momentum on the defensive side and bring things back to contention. Can NRG shut it down as Gen G look aggressive down B mid and NRG have their sights on A?
EU looking for the lineup, and almost everyone from NRG is over towards that short area. Gen G, they've already taken on all this pressure over towards long two, and not only that, but 3 around sight. So now Gen G, they almost seem ready and raring to go, but look at that shock dart again. Yet another lineup coming in for Michael. EU still fighting over towards long. That's a 1-2 combo again, this time using a shock dart into the ghost. Spike is still down for NRG. Michael now around the corner as Shanks, the paranoia, the near sight, it goes out right on time. Still Kusta with one back. Huge smoke. They could cover up Kusta for a little bit of a ninja defuse, but that is well done by Som. Wow. Just the movement on him. He was essentially ready for a player to make that wide swing. Nobody else had the information. Som just had to go for the intuition, and the rest of the team couldn't do anything about it. NRG with a good hold, and more importantly, with a round.
This is where Gen G strive, though. In the high-pressure situations, when everything matters most, they somehow pull it out, and they are pulling the full buy out. Stingers, a frenzy for Kusta, and Sean sure to follow in their footsteps. Pressure is on here, Gen G. You've got a performance to show us. Down by 5. A lot easier to manage than the 10-2 half scoreline we had in the first game, where it eventually went to 11-2. But Gen G, can they replicate the second round conversion again? It's NRG with a quick take on the C side, and Shanks already with a whole lot of space.
The only reason why he has so much space is because Gen G, they've given up the sight. They're going for a full retake here, Sully.
There's even a hold in the flank as well. Look at Infinite's
Oh my.
positioning. Cam set up so they have nothing to worry about.
That's wonderful.
This is going to be so difficult. And when you said it earlier about the C site and how big these shock darts are, well, I sure as heck know EU's got something in Infinite. All the info in the world. They've got no idea. They are oblivious, and Infinite is fed these kills. Now the retake has been dismantled with just one play, one man alone. And Gen G, it's unfortunately going to be double digits for NRG here as they find themselves 10. And Gen G, they were not prepared for anything NRG had in that one.
Yeah, that is almost literally just a set hold for a second round conversion. So again, NRG, they ended up putting all of their bodies over towards long and just hiding them, allowing Infinite to essentially just have a little bit of space over towards the spawn area. And that's really what teams would do in the second round, or at least their opponents, that they're the ones on the save. They get a little bit desperate. They want to wrap around over towards C. Or NRG, they've just done their homework on Gen G. They know that a couple of players, they like to go for the flanks over towards long on retakes. And indeed it happened. Infinite with a great combo. Not only that, but a paranoia comes in clutch. I mean, that is just strategical gold. But now Gen G, they need to show up. They need to pull out their own scrapbook in a sense, because now this might be their last stand. They have the rifles out with not too much time to go in this game.
Oh, another fast play. It's GMD in the back, not ready whatsoever. Som running and gunning. This is what he does best. Run it back, and he's running it through the spot. I think if he was maybe given another second, win was his, but 11-4 NRG. Only need 2 more to go. And with Gen G's economic position, Gus, it's do or die here. They lose this round, no credits. And NRG on the doorstep of semifinals and the Valorant Challengers Open Qualifier number 1.
I don't think we can really pass by the fact that, well, you know, Sully, there is one key on the keyboard that this NRG team really loves to hold. Like, sometimes it does get a little bit worn out, but they do order HyperX keycaps, like keycap replacements, essentially once every other week. You know what, that W button, right? They do love to wear that one out. They really do. And Som just proved it. But at least in this round, they can't exactly, you know, maybe stick on to that, maybe that reliancy. But Som, he's the speedster. He's already up long, just trying to get at least a frag back. But now Gen G with an early frag from Win, as actually he's been starting to heat up a little bit in the last couple of rounds. NRG, they're the ones that really have to fight back for this round.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Exactly what they needed. Quinn on the operator can be a very big game changer. You already see it's netted them 1 kill. But NRG have adjusted. They see Quinn with an op on A. No, they're not going to go there, but GMD in the back. Ooh, caught out, and Sean will be surely cleared on out. Great take from NRG, but Gen G, we know they're good on these retakes. Michael with the first, but he's being spammed down. He has a Hunter's Fury, and he will try and deny the spike plant, but to no avail. They're going to get it down here in a second with just a reposition, and Quinn clean on the op. Puts it in a 3v2 where Gen G have an advantage but are grouped up in spawn, and you talked about the W key. Putting keycaps are on, and Sam is looking for something.
Oh, baby. The putting keycaps, that real fire then. There you go. There's two sides to it. There's the safe Som and there's the aggressive Som. And this time, Som really comes up big. But now it's the 1v2. Daps around the corner. He's the leader. But now this time he has to be the fragger. And it works out for him. 1v2, Gen G, it was their time to shine. It was their time to really get this game back on track. But it's Daps in such a beautiful position, had to wait out so patiently for that second frag. And there you go, folks. NRG 12-4. It's map and match point coming up for the NRG squad.
I said Gen G, when they are in the worst positions, backs against the wall, they come up big. Well, here is their time. Huynh, with the Blade Storm, is all he's got to use. But can he turn this around? Early aggression down long. Two-player spotted in Shanks. Flips the switch, and he's looking to end this one early. Just like that, it's a 5v3, and the man has got the Blade Storm. He's looking for a little bit more. There's nobody in the spawn just yet. A flank coming in, but there's a trip to watch. And Gen G, how do you even attempt this?
Slow and steady, one kill at a time. That's all that's going through Gen G's head at the moment. They have almost no information up towards that C site.
Oh, no.
Instead, NRG, they're the ones with a whole lot of info. That is huge off the cam, but even then, time is just getting chunked off the clock. No opening frags. Shanks able to get one onto Michael on the back line. Same thing with EU. GMD is going to get overwhelmed. And just like that, NRG in one of the most dominant